Hi, welcome back to Community Hotline. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. And now we're going to have a fun segment because we're going to be talking about the summer and all the fun things that are going on in your community. To start out, we're going to be talking with the Hazelwood Neighborhood Association. Linda Johnson, you are the Vice President of the Neighborhood Association.
Linda Robinson.
I'm sorry, what is that?
Robinson.
Somebody wrote this down wrong on our form. I'm so sorry. Robinson, Linda Robinson, let's get that right. And Judith Yeckel, you are the producer of Concerts in the Park.
I am.
Now you're also with the City of Portland Parks and Rec.
Yes.
And is the City of Portland the one that actually started this Concerts in the Park series?
Well, it has a long history. Concerts have been going on in city parks since the 1800s. Not that I was there, but not that any of us were there. But music has always been a big part of parks. The current model that we use, which is a very grassroots model, was started by my predecessor as producer, Kristen Knapp. And she developed a whole system where committees formed in neighborhoods where they wanted concerts and worked with the very small staff we have of concert producers to raise money in their individual neighborhoods that underwrites all the direct production costs of the concerts. They get, we get support from Parks and Recreation because it's all, logistical support, admin support, all that maintenance support, all that kind of stuff. But the committees and the individual sponsors and businesses and people in the neighborhoods are what make these concerts happen.
So it really is grassroots.
It absolutely is, and that's what makes it such a success. If you're not part of the line item budget, you can't get cut. So it is driven by community desire, and that's a fantastic thing.
Well, and the community also works with them to select the bands and to decide what kind of music that is most appropriate for your neighborhood. And we work really hard. Some of our neighborhoods are more diverse than others. Some are more family, some are more, single people. So we try to pick music and bands that are most appropriate for the neighborhood where the park is, is located.
How long have you been involved in this, Linda?
I've been involved with doing park stuff as a volunteer for 25 years, maybe.
That's a long time.
So you have a little bit of passion for it, I live in East Portland, the part that was annexed in the late 80s and 90s, and so we haven't had music in the parks as long, but we've had it for several years, and I've been involved.
And I bet you've wanted it
we
for
wanted
all that
it.
time,
We did.
right?
We actually took us a while to figure out how to get it.
And it really is fun. Music in the parks is something that really
it's fun.
Nobody doesn't like music in the parks,
How
right?
can you hate it?
Exactly.
And it's free. It's completely free to the public. So it's a way to introduce your kids to all sorts of different styles and genres of music, all sorts of different cultures. And to stand there before a show and watch everybody start to arrive with all their picnic gear and all their stuff and get set up, and the band's doing sound check and the vendors are setting up and our sponsors are tabling.
It's an event.
It's an event. It is and it's recreated sometimes in more than one place every single night in July and August, pretty much.
Yeah. Think about all the different benefits or things that would draw people to an event like that. For example, the mother who comes home from work, or the father who comes home from work doesn't want to cook dinner. You can pick something up and take it to go, or the kids that just need to get out of the house, or a date night. It's a great date night.
Exactly, and you also have grandparents who bring their grandchildren, so it's a good intergenerational thing. So I see it as but I see it as a real community builder. You bringing people together, and sometimes they interact, but just being together in one place and enjoying the same thing. And the more you do that, the more interaction you get between the newcomers and the longtime residents. That kind of thing.
Don't you recognize people year after year who come back? And I see people go park to park to park. I know you. You were at Selwood the other night. Now you're at Ventura, or now you're at
Music Lovers.
And
I bet there's a lot of people that run into each other at the grocery store and say, hey, remember, how would you think about the concert?
There's another thing that we've seen in our concerts. We have, out in the Gateway area, we have a lot of care centers for not just older people, but for people who have disabilities and stuff. There's a lot of them located out that way. They sometimes bring a little minibus with some of these people who are severely disabled, and it would be very difficult for them to go to the Schnitz for a concert. So it's really a really great, they can do the same thing that everybody everybody else in the
Yeah,
community is
that's
doing.
great. And how wonderful to feel a part of the community that you perhaps don't very often. So what's your favorite part of the whole event?
Oh, well, working with so many different community groups, first of all, because every neighborhood has a personality. I am here to tell you. It really is interesting. And then, and zeroing in on what serves that neighborhood. Overseeing the music, to say, not so much to choose, because we really do allow our committees to have the strong voice in selecting the bands. We play them all sorts of music. We have the database to die for.
I bet you do.
But making sure that the concerts as a whole, because we do somewhere close to 60 concerts in a given summer, that it really does express the broadest possible range of cultures and genres. So it's not like, oh, we've got 5,000 boy bands, or we've got, it's like, so we try to balance the whole thing out. But really, it's when the audience comes together with the music. That synergy is just
Because you're there before anybody shows up, setting up the stage,
yes,
setting up the sound system and all that, and then they just start trickling in.
You brought some pictures of the events from previous years, or is this just last year?
Previous years.
Okay, so tell me what we're looking
That's
at here. This looks like a
Giovanna.
fun.
Yes,
They were at
we actually
Ventura,
were at
weren't they?
Ventura Park. I think it was last year.
They look like fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
They are a wild and crazy Russian band. They are,
Perfect,
nobody can
perfect
sit
too.
still.
There's a huge Russian community.
We have a
there.
huge Russian community in East Portland in particular.
That is a jazz singer named Lindy Ma, who will actually be at Washington Park this summer doing a tribute to Malvina Reynolds and Pete Seeger. So, that's going to be a great night. And this is Okrapong, Obo Adi.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking that was Obo
Is a
Adi.
Portland institution,
Yeah, it sure
and still
is.
has left a legacy that is unbeatable. This is his traditional African drumming and dancing group, now
They're
led by
always
his
fun.
son Alex, and they
Yes,
are
yes.
fantastic.
And colorful. I like
And that's Patrick Lamb
yes,
getting
yes.
down, I think, at Washington Park at some
Looks
point.
like the Washington Park
It does
background.
look like the Washington Park trees, like we could really identify which trees were in Washington
He's always
Park.
fun to watch,
He is.
to listen to. Yeah.
Oh, this was at Ventura, the one on the left
look at the
anyway.
kids.
She was dancing to one of the bands that was playing. She was having a great time.
Kids have the best time. They're
Yeah.
so,
There's
without
always-
any kind of.
And there's always room left up between the band and the audience
Yeah,
so that
so
people
there's
can
room
get
for
up and
them,
dance.
yeah.
This is at Ventura Park. My husband is in
aren't
one
afraid
of
to
them.
Everybody
Oh,
in
is
their chairs, yeah.
Another one at Ventura.
So you can see it fills up.
Those are a couple
Family.
members of the Park Rose School Board who were at the
Great.
concert at
Oh, look at that.
another one.
Just having a good time.
Yep.
I can't quite tell who that is,
That was
but
at Ventura
everybody's
Park.
dancing.
It was a gypsy group, kind of a gypsy-like music.
Oh. Maybe
And they
Krebsik?
brought dancers that came with them.
Oh,
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you two get out there and dance with the? Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I do.
Good.
I do occasionally.
That's a pretty darn good crowd, isn't
That
it?
one's actually at
that's
Mount Tabor.
yeah, and they
in
have a
the,
huge
in the
crowd.
Caldera. Tabor concerts have been going for almost 40 years.
Wow, that's
So
a long time.
they
And they're
have
very
got-
popular.
big
They have
crowd,
got a
yeah.
crowd that has built up over the years in an amazing way. Yeah,
That's in the Cinder Cone.
that's in the
Yeah,
Caldera.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fun stuff. Fun stuff. So tell us what we have to look forward to. So Linda, you are with the Hazelwood Neighborhood Association. So what's going on in your neighborhood? Do you know yet which bands will be playing?
We do. We have we've got our bands lined up. We're going to have 4 concerts on the 4 Wednesdays in August.
Oh.
The first one is going to be the
Dusu
Dusu Mali Band. It's an African jazz group.
Oh, that sounds good.
And then we're going to have a Vagabond Opera, which is a cabaret kind of thing on the second week.
They are outrageous,
there's-
theatrical, dramatic.
I haven't seen them, but
Oh,
I've heard them,
I've
and it
heard
sounds
of
good.
them.
They are amazing. They will draw a big crowd.
And that's at Ventura Park, which is
Okay.
at
So
Southeast
where was the
100
first one going
It's
to
at
be?
Southeast 113th and Stark.
Okay, that's Ventura.
Yeah.
What
those two.
the African jazz? Those
Yeah,
are both
so-
there. Okay,
yes.
those are both there.
And then
okay.
and then the second 2 weeks in August, we have blues band, the first one. This is at Park Lane. This is a park that sits almost on the Gresham-Portland border. It's 155th and Main. And so we've got a blues band and then a country western kind of.
Who do you have the names?
Copper and Coal
Is the country western,
western.
vintage country, and David Gerald is the blues artist. He is actually from Detroit, Mississippi born and raised. Detroit blues man.
He's got the credentials, doesn't he?
Fantastic.
I haven't heard of him, and I love the blues.
He's coming through.
Yeah, he did Washington Park 2 years ago, and we loved him so much that when he said, I've got this in-between date, Portland's in a great spot. Because people coming down from Seattle, heading down towards San Francisco or whatever, stop in Portland. So we said, have we got a park for you? He is world class. He's just, all these bands are going to provide just wonderful entertainment.
Most of the bands that we use are Portland bands. They're usually fairly experienced Portland bands.
Oh yeah.
She has a list of who they are, and she's.
And is that on your website? Is it?
The whole schedule for
whole
the
schedule for,
entire
the whole
summer
city?
is actually on the park's
For those who
website.
want to go from one park to the
From
other.
one to the other, and eventually we will have the season brochure printed. And this year, for the first time, you can speak to this, Linda.
Oh, we're having it printed in several languages.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Spanish, I assume. What else?
last 2 years, we got a grant in East Portland to have it printed in several different languages, just the East Portland parks. And then we've been working with parks, and now this year they're printing all of them in multiple languages because we have so many immigrants in the city.
We have a very diverse city, and it makes it very
That's
interesting.
exciting.
And,
So Russian, simple Chinese.
Yes, and we have
what
them
else?
in Vietnamese,
Spanish, of course, Vietnamese. Just 7
Somali.
Somali, yes.
You speak them all, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah, no. And we're working very closely with institutions in various neighborhoods that serve those populations. So it's not, you can't just write something on paper, even if it's in someone's language, and expect them to show up.
Right.
You've got to engage.
Right.
And
Yes,
so
that makes
that's
sense.
one of our biggest missions.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, concerts is a big part of Summer Free for All, which is a parks umbrella kind of
Just
thing.
things that are
Yes.
going on in
Free
the city.
in the
Yeah.
parks.
Right.
So that includes concerts, movies, all the playground programs, and free lunch in the parks. Last year they served, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 160,000.
Right.
I remember going by the park in my neighborhood all the time.
lunches.
and
Yeah,
kids were out
absolutely.
there.
So it is really all the different ways we engage with the community and for free.
And they try with those lunch programs. They usually have a recreational or play
Right,
program that
crafts
goes
or
with
something,
it.
yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're almost out of time. Tell me, do you have a need for volunteers to help out with these events?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you want to speak
We,
to that?
we really could use additional people on the committee. The committee that raises the money, selects the bands. The more people we can have. Last year we just had 2 or 3 of us. The more people we have, then it's easier to raise the money. You can do it in a shorter period of time.
And you're not so worn out.
Yes,
Exactly.
and if someone's interested, they can contact Judith,
Yes.
and we will have them come and help us with preparing for it and setting up so they
Yeah,
can
like
get a
little,
feel.
little on-the-job
Yeah,
training
so they
for
can
next year.
find out what
Yeah.
what it's like and meet us, so know whether they want to work with us. So
I don't know.
And, yeah.
Anybody who wouldn't want to work with you, too.
Come in for the fun part this year, and then we'll really put you to work next year.
Sounds like a plan.
Right.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate it so much. This sounds like it's going to be a wonderful, fun summer. It's going to be a hot summer, I think, and you're going to get a lot of people out of it.
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah,
Put on your
good.
dancing shoes. We'll see you.
I'm
in the
ready.
park.
I'm ready to go. So I'll see you out
Okay.
there. Thanks so much for watching this segment of Community Hotline. Now you know you have something to look forward to this summer, just besides the sunny weather. So don't leave. We have more to talk about on Community Hotline. Thank you. That was good.